It's crazy, Brandon. SummerSlam is this weekend, the 38th SummerSlam, the first ever two-night SummerSlam, and kind of a little kind of in-house, which I think is weird and strange that I deal with in my own personal life. And this is the third event to take place at MetLife Stadium with WWE. And I have to say, it's weird because, as you know, Brandon, you're one of the people that I go to some shows with, and we got a little group of people that I go to shows with on occasion. But MetLife Stadium seems to be like the one place where I just cannot plan and cannot have everything set in order. It seemed to be the easiest thing. Last minute came by, though, here, and I still, this weekend, don't have a hotel, do not have tickets, but will be going down by myself with nobody else because we seem to have some people backing out at the last minute. But we're going to trek on nonetheless for SummerSlam because, again, for those who don't know, we record this podcast about 3.5 hours away from where MetLife Stadium is, and it was WrestleMania 29 that I went to and got tickets of 2 hours before the show started. It was WrestleMania 35 I went to, got tickets of 24 hours before the show started, and it seems to be we're going to follow that same vein, which is strange because I just went to Las Vegas and had my WrestleMania tickets, my hotel booked, my car booked, all that stuff so far in advance, and here we are heading into something that's very close. Essentially, I have to take no time off from my day job to go, and we still have all this stuff kind of unplanned. And I think a little bit unplanned too, just, kind of leaving it out there just because of some cancellations, but some openings as well in case anyone wants to jump along. But SummerSlam is 2 nights this year for the very first time ever. And one thing I heard recently that's still kind of the myth out there going on, and it's about 2-night WWE events. And I heard it out there recently, and I have to just bring it up because it was brought up about how WrestleMania became 2 nights, and it became 2 nights because, well, MetLife Stadium, WrestleMania, very, very long event. And we're on 2-night events like WrestleMania because of the length of the shows. And I know that that's what's being told, Brandon, to everybody. We've been told that or read that in the wrestling community. It's not really ever what Triple H said exactly, but he did say it in some forms that, WrestleMania was very long. 2 nights is easier to digest. I understand that. But that's I guess, the answer that the fans are given as the easy, understandable answer because they don't want to just come out and say things related to dollars, money, 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 dollar, 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 money, money, money. And listen, if you want to believe that SummerSlam is 2 nights because the event was too long for 1 night, which this is not an event anyone's ever complained about it being too long for one show. That's never a thing. So if you want to believe that we're here at 2 nights because it's more convenient for the fans, it's an easier digestible event, go ahead and believe that. Think that this is all based on your convenience, nothing to do with the fact that there are 2 nights worth of tickets to be sold for SummerSlam. Nothing to do with the fact that you're going to pay for parking, which of all places, Brandon knows that is my claim to fame, finding free parking, but MetLife Stadium is of all places something that is just not available. You can take the train in from the city at a very inconvenient way. You can take a bus in and have to pay to ride the bus very inconveniently, or you can walk upwards of an hour and a half away. But MetLife Stadium is situated kind of on an island of its own. And listen, you can not pay to park, sure, if you wanted to really go out of your way to be extraordinary and walk alongside of the highway. But for most people who want just the regular convenience, and I'm willing to walk for sure, but the regular convenience of not crossing 8 lanes of highway traffic in the New York City area, you're going to pay to park. And that's $40. And that's $40 times 2 for SummerSlam. But I think, obviously, what makes it the most obvious answer for why something like this is 2 nights, it goes on to us here because, like I've mentioned, we are 3.5 hours away from MetLife Stadium, a place in which we recently went to Slammiversary, which is 4.5 hours away in the New York City area, and made it a day trip, made it a 1-night trip, no hotel, no rental cars, none of that stuff. With MetLife Stadium being 3.5 hours away, a place I've made day trips many times for, whether it be for New York Giants football games, for WrestleManias, or even a Coldplay concert, which is now, I guess, more in the pop culture relevancy than it was many years ago when I was driving down to MetLife for that. But a place you could easily make a day trip. And I'm no stranger to driving in the middle of the night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
I know.
easily a day trip option. But because it is 2 nights, I will have to be giving some of my hard-earned money to the New Jersey state taxes and the people of New Jersey when it comes to more meals I will have to eat, but more importantly, a night, at least one, in a hotel room because I'm not going to make that 3-hour trek back to Syracuse and then back the next day. So I'll be spending a night in a hotel, which is exactly why places like New Jersey, New York City bid on having these events because they don't get the ticket sales. They're not a part of the WWE merch. They want all the stuff that goes with it. They want the extra business around town. They want the hotel revenue. And that is exactly what they are going to get. So if anything, it is a 2-night WrestleMania because it makes the event, the purchaser who is purchasing the event, which is in a sense the New Jersey Tourism Committee, it makes their price higher for the event because they're actually going to be getting more money. They bid on WrestleManias and stuff before with that hope, but with the one-night WrestleMania, there's a chance that people from around those areas could just make it a day trip. But now, unless you literally live directly as close as you can be, if you're driving even maybe upwards of 2 hours out of town, you are going to get a hotel room and you're going to eat meals there and all that stuff. So that is why these events are 2 nights, because even if WrestleMania was only an hour and a half away from here, there's a good chance I'm going to be getting a hotel room to instead of making that trek back the next day. And that is money that New Jersey Tourism wants to get. That's why they bid on these events. That, I believe, is probably why things like this are 2 nights, among other things, of ticket sales and parking twice, right? $40 times 2, that's $80 to park. And let me tell you, I'd never pay $80 to park. And here I'm going to be doing it because that's just the lay of the land here. But it is a 2-night WrestleMania or 2-night SummerSlam. But I kind of spit up there, said WrestleMania, because talking about this SummerSlam and getting into actually this SummerSlam and getting into the card, and Brandon joining in on the conversation here, this card, I think, from the surface, looks better than the card going into WrestleMania. Am I wrong here?
Yeah, I would say it's a pretty good card. I think it's pretty stacked at this point. Just looking at the card. I mean, night one's WrestleMania worthy in my book. I think. And then you look at obviously night 2, WrestleMania worthy. And I would say, to your point, I would say yes. I would say this card is stacked up. I would say slightly better. I wouldn't say it was that much vastly different. Like, saying this card is way better than what WrestleMania was earlier in the year. I would say this is slightly better. I think the builds are really good. And, like you just said, and just not to go too far on the rabbit hole. Yeah, Jared is a professional, at finding great parking for no cost. We did it. We took a little walk, and we were in Long Island walking around, and we parked in New York City for free. So just if anybody needs tips on parking, this guy right here is the professional here. But back to SummerSlam. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I want to get your thoughts. I know you were breaking down what it's going to cost to stay there, $40, $40 in parking times 2, which I know that's out of your realm of possibility. We got in the door at Slammiversary for just a little bit over $40 a piece, which you got a good show out of it, and you got to do that just to get parking to get into the door. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I will tell you, like you said, right? If this event was at Madison Square Garden, I know it costs about $15 to $20 now to enter New York City via all the tollways and all that stuff like that. So that would actually be a $20 savings for me per day if this event was at Madison Square Garden, driving into Manhattan itself, than it would be where it is located in New Jersey. So that's just crazy to think, obviously, because Manhattan is supposed to be the most expensive place. But I mean, that's where they get to these football stadiums. They're never located like in downtowns of areas. But I will say I didn't have to pay to park in Detroit, and I did not have to pay to park in Cleveland because of those stadiums being.
If you're going to go to a Patriots game, if your New York Giants are playing, in New England, you're not going to Boston, you're going to Foxborough. So that's kind of out of the way a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's another example.
I will have to pay to park in any place where these stadiums are located. outside of neighborhoods, outside of cities where there's essentially just nothing but highway. MetLife Stadium, it's got a highway exit off and a highway exit on. There's really no neighborhoods, and even the neighborhoods that are nearby are separated by many lanes of multiple highways. So it's kind of like on its own little swampland where MetLife Stadium is, because across the
by design.
it's just,
I think it's by design too. I think it is by design.
it's by design because it was a empty piece of land when they built Giant Stadium and the Meadowlands and everything on it originally. And yeah, like I said, they could charge for parking. There is even kind of on the other side where there are some hotels and things within walking distance. It's still upwards of an hour walk, and it's still not it's not friendly walking. It's not sidewalk walking, things like that. But even though to stay at those hotels, right, you're going to have to pay a pretty penny, probably more than the $40 to stay at those hotels to then walk over. And some of those I think do offer shuttles, but again, it's just not conducive to being like when you let out, you're going to just walk out into a street, go to a restaurant, none of that kind of stuff. It's get in your car and kind of get out of there. But yeah, this is the first SummerSlam that's going to be at MetLife Stadium, but it is not the first SummerSlam to take place from the Meadowlands in that parking lot area, as we were just talking about, which make up the Meadowlands, which is MetLife Stadium, formerly Giant Stadium, the American Dream Mall, formerly abandoned, nothing before it was the American Dream Mall, and the Continental Airlines Arena right there as well with the Meadowlands Raceway. But multiple SummerSlams have been from the Meadowlands. I believe most recently was like 2007 was from the Izod Center, then known as the Continental Airlines Arena. But like I said, it's not the first SummerSlam from the Meadowlands. But I think this SummerSlam, like I said, a short time to build. So some of the matches may not have the most amazing stories, but yeah, I think night one too reminds me a lot. This reminds me a lot of WrestleMania because I think night one we got this tag team match, which could potentially be the main event. I'm not talking about the Jelly Roll one. I'm talking about Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And that reminds me of the main event of night one of WrestleMania, right? Where it was all about Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, a former Paul Heyman guy, CM Punk, The Favor. So essentially a Paul Heyman-esque storyline to main event your night number one.
Do you like night one or night two better, looking at it?
I think overall, I think I like night number one. But I think obviously they did that by design because night number two has the quote unquote main event. And, if this kind of gives you the answer right here, because WrestleMania, we always talk about with the two-night WrestleManias of night one main event being a main event. And here with SummerSlam, as of this recording, we don't really have a clear-cut main event. Nobody was announced as the main eventer for SummerSlam night one.
You don't think I think it's Gunther and CM Punk.
See, you think it's Gunther and CM Punk, which, I think it very well could be Gunther and CM Punk, but I also think that tag team match has an opportunity, right? The one I just mentioned.
The tag match starts the show, honestly.
You think Roman Reigns, Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed starts SummerSlam? Yeah,
I think that's the best way to kick it off, and then obviously everything else in between is a good part of the sandwich, and then at the end of it, you have the main event, which would be Gunther and CM Punk. Which, let's be honest, I think if that were to happen, which obviously we'll see here in the coming days, to me, I think you give the fans something be happy about at the end of the night on night one, and have CM Punk leave as champion.
That very well could be. A lot of people have been looking at the thumbnails on Netflix and Peacock for how they're advertising the nights. And originally it actually had the tag team match as the thumbnail for night one, but currently it has CM Punk and Gunther for night number one. But talking about one of the other tag team matches, there are some rumblings and rumors going on. Drew McIntyre has posted maybe that he is stuck in England, in the UK, via visa issues or passport issues. But he is scheduled to team up with Logan Paul to take on Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. Do you see Drew McIntyre not making it? Do you see that this is just a silly kind of work to drag the story on? Or do you maybe see a replacement here for Drew McIntyre teaming up with Logan Paul?
I think he'll be fine. I think this is part of the story. Obviously, with the current situation in the world where, things aren't as easy to get back in the States, just the way that things are right now. I could see that being played up. And to be honest, if it even is slightly true, like if there's some crumbs of it that are true, I think that I think there's some people in WWE that are powerful enough to make it work. I mean, let's be honest, not to go down the political rabbit hole by any means, but there is a McMahon that's actually part of the cabinet, so to speak, of the president. So, I think Stephanie and Triple H have a direct line to that, and then that's a direct line to the president type of a thing. So, like, if they really want Drew McIntyre there, and it's a situation where they're not allowing him there, so to speak, I'm just playing that part out. They can make some phone calls and make it happen. I would think that could be a thing.
That isn't out of the realm of possibility.
But I'm just saying, I don't think it happens. I think it's a storyline.
It's crazy to think. If you would have told me in 1997 that SummerSlam 2025, one of the participants is in jeopardy, and they're going to rely on the president of the United States to help get them over from another country, and that president is Donald Trump, I would have thought you were completely that was a cartoonish world you're making up. But it is a very realistic thing. And it may not seem realistic, but I mean, yeah, I've seen crazier, right? Talking about McMahon just a minute ago, right? Crazy, the story that has come out about the fact that he recently totaled his car in a car accident, almost identical to the same time that it was announced Hulk Hogan had passed away. So look how close we were to having Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan passing away almost at the exact same time. Wondering if maybe McMahon was looking at his phone and seeing the text or the tweet or something about Hulk Hogan passing away when he got in this major car accident, which totaled his Bentley in New England. But just, yeah, crazy times we're living in general. And if those crazy times are true and Drew McIntyre isn't, could we, do you think we see the Miz? Do you think that that's even around? Do you think that could even be the swerve we have Logan Paul teaming back up with the Miz? Or do you think that is just, that's nothing? It's really just about the Drew McIntyre situation that they're hyping up, but he'll be there.
Yeah, I think I don't see the Miz part even happening. I think they're just hyping it up. Drew's going to be there. I think he'll be there. I think it's just another layer to add to the story, as you alluded to. That's where I think it stands, to be honest.
Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton on night one. It's Jade Cargill who is the queen of the ring. She gets this opportunity for the second year in a row, the king and queen of the ring, get their spots at SummerSlam, right? So right now we have Jade Cargill for Tiffany Stratton. Do we crown Jade Cargill as the new champion here? Since she's made her debut at the 2024 Royal Rumble, we kind of wondered how long would it take. It's been about a year and a half. Here she is. Do we see Jade Cargill as the new champion, or does she suffer a loss to Tiffany Stratton?
My daughter's going to be very mad at me for saying this because she's a big Tiffy time fan, but I think Jade Cargill is going to win. I think she's finally going to get the title. I think it's time. I've been watching that the WWE like Untold, I think it's called. Unreal, whatever. Yeah, it's
just came out yesterday, and you're already getting the name wrong. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't care about the name as much. Just the content behind it. I haven't watched the entire thing yet, but there's there's some pieces in there that I've seen that has Jade Cargill, featured in there a little bit. And it seems like WWE is pretty high on her as well. So I think at this point, I think you got to put the strap on her.
I just don't see a way that she would lose cleanly. I think obviously, unless again, we don't have Bianca Belair here on the card or anything like that. We could maybe have something start up with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, just like we did with Naomi.
Yeah, that's possible. That's certainly possible. I think Jade Cargill, I just think she's due for it. I think she's due for the championship. So as much as I enjoy what Tiffy's doing right now, I do think, it's a fresh coat of paint here, will be good. And I think a fresh coat of paint means Jade Cargill is the champ.
We got that women's tag team title match between the Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, taking Liv Morgan's spot since she got hurt a little while ago against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. This unusual tag team that got created after a little bit of rivalry between them one-on-one. They created this tag team now. Do you see the Judgment Day just keeping the belts here, or do you see Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss keeping the tag team going into the future with the belts?
I see Dirty Dom helping them out, the Judgment Day. I think Raquel and Roxanne are going to retain, and I think it's going to be some dirty Dom action. I think Dirty Dom's going to help
He's free on Saturday night. He's not in a match on Saturday night, so I could see that happening as well.
Well, on the flip side too, another part of it that could happen as well is Alexa and Charlotte, they fall apart at the seams, and helps them lose that match. I mean, would I like to see them win? Yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool, but I just think the Judgment Day, I think what they're doing right now is really good, and I think it's good programming. I don't see them losing it.
What I think will main event night number one, I don't, but hey, maybe they will. You never know where WWE's going. Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross on the main card, the PLE at SummerSlam, taking on Sami Zayn. The stipulation, if you've been following a little bit, right, it's all about Karrion Kross, him being the fortune teller, if you will, being able to essentially tell Sami Zayn that he should be following him along and following his advice. And if Kross wins, Sami has to say the words that Kross was right. And if Zayn wins, Kross must say, I was wrong. A little, I guess it's not your usual stipulation. I don't think I've ever seen a stipulation in the history of wrestling where those were things that had to be said at the end of the match. But who wins this match? I think it's Karrion Kross. I think he gets the push, and he's going to, leave night number one of like stronger than ever.
Yeah, I mean, before I give you my answer, I'll just say this. I don't know if you saw on Killer Kross, Karrion Kross, Kevin Keyser, I believe I think that's his name, Kevin Keyser, I believe is his name on there, on his government name. But Kevin Sullivan, he recorded the late, there's a voicemail from the late legendary Kevin Sullivan. Anybody that doesn't know who Kevin Sullivan is, do your homework, go to search online. He's very integral in, I would say, more so WCW more than anything else, for being a creative genius there. But there's a lot of different things that Kevin Sullivan has brought to the business. A very respected name that was in the business, and there was a voicemail that Kevin Sullivan left for Karrion Kross, Kevin Keyser, where he pretty much said, stay the course, do your thing, like you are a star, kind of a thing. And I don't think Kross did this by accident. I think there's seeds being planted because he's good at planting those seeds. And I think he's going to get the push. Sami doesn't need the win. Sami's good. Sami's in a good spot. Kross needs this win so much more. And I think Kross walks away victorious.
Yeah, I think Karrion Kross gets the win here over Sami Zayn. I just, the idea of putting Karrion Kross on the pay-per-view itself is to essentially, prop him up. I think losing him and having to have him say that he was wrong, I guess that kind of takes some of the momentum off of him. But staying on night number one, I know we talked about it briefly. Gunther, CM Punk, all right, the World Heavyweight Championship. Who do we have CM Punk beating Gunther here in the main event? Do we have a Seth Rollins appearance in this CM Punk Gunther match?
I mean, I'll give you two scenarios. I alluded to it earlier. I think it would be a good way for the fans and a goodwill from WWE to have the fans go home happy with a CM Punk win to end the night. So I think that could certainly happen. But if Gunther's leaving night one as champion, I think Seth Rollins could be the person involved, so to speak, with that decision. I'm going to go with the other side of it. I'm going to say CM Punk. I think CM Punk is going to leave night one, main event of night one, as the champ.
So the reason I don't watch WWE Unreal, and I'm not going to watch it at least for the foreseeable future until maybe it's 25 years old, and it's interesting down the line to see how things were back in the day. But part of that is because right now Seth Rollins, right? The word on the street is we don't have that confirmation that his injury is as legit. There's a lot of people out there, even in the business, out of the business, that are going, it's 50-50, right? I'm not 100% sold that it is a true injury. I know at SummerSlam, we'll find out if it's true because that's what it's leading to, right? If we have no Seth Rollins appearance at SummerSlam, I think why else would it not be real? But I could see Seth Rollins making the cash in because remember, Seth Rollins has said as long as he's in the WWE, he is going to do everything just like Drew McIntyre did in the storylines in the past to screw CM Punk every chance he gets and to keep that feud going. And this is an opportunity for him to do so. CM Punk in the main event of SummerSlam night number one. And again, here we go again. CM Punk getting another main event, but it's a night one main event. And Seth Rollins could screw him just like, and we could essentially end SummerSlam night one the same way we ended WrestleMania night one, and that's with Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins. This time, Seth Rollins with the World Heavyweight Championship, and CM Punk looking in the ring distraught up at Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. But we move on to night number two, and for the first time since 2019, I can't remember 2020, that one don't count. But for the first time since 2019, there will be a SummerSlam event on a Sunday night in front of people in North America. 2019 SummerSlam was on a Sunday night in Toronto, Ontario. The first SummerSlam that I actually ever went to was that one. Weirdly enough, it took me that long to go to one, but that's a Sunday night. And since then, obviously, we've had Saturday nights, and well, we still have Saturday nights, but with two nights means something's got to be on a Sunday for now. And we got another 6 matches. And how about this? The most recently made match. We seen this as a SummerSlam staple going back to the year 2000. We're talking tables, ladders, and chairs. It's the Wyatt Six, who just announced that they're going to have a haunted house at this year's Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. Makes me wish I went this year versus last year, but I digress. And they're going to be taking on as champions Andrade and Rey Fenix, as well as DIY with Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. Fraxium's going to be involved in this. The Motor City Machine Guns are going to be involved in this, and the Street Profits. It's a 6-team TLC match for the tag team championships. It's pretty much every tag team on the SmackDown side. Are you excited for this?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I mean, I don't want to say I'm super excited, but I think it's been a decent build. I think what they did on SmackDown this past week was cool, where they ended the show essentially brawling out, like all hell was breaking loose. And it is the Wyatt Six, and this is a 6-man tag or 6-pack
team tag, 12-man tag.
Yeah, six pack. So the point is, there's a lot of 6 going on here. And you just mentioned, and I did know this as well because my sister is a super Universal Orlando fanatic. She could tell you every place to go in that. She knows it like New York City. She knows it pretty well. So she told me about the Wyatt Six, connection there. So with all that great promotional stuff going out there for the Wyatt Six, I think they're going to retain the titles.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I guess, it's obviously strange because, with Bo Dallas essentially being the head of the team, you'd imagine that he would be a part of, the tag team champ. But it's Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy. So, I mean, good for them. I mean, on being the tag team champions. It's crazy to think that it kind of falls under the radar just a little bit because of the fact that they're with the Wyatt Six, and it's more the Wyatt Six gets announced as the tag team champions, and it's multiple people in that. But good on them. They are the tag team champions. Good on WWE for putting the Wyatt Six on a pay-per-view. If I'm not mistaken here, they've never been on one. And what did they debut, like last fall? And that goes back to, Bray Wyatt himself, right? I mean, he missed out on, in the whole Firefly Funhouse gang, missed out on a lot of pay-per-views back in the day. I remember he was part of the Royal Rumble, not part of Elimination Chamber, and then obviously not part of WrestleMania. So after his debut, he was a part of, or his return, Bray Wyatt, I say, in 2022, he was a part of one pay-per-view, and I think 4 or 5 happened during his span before he had to take a leave of absence from the WWE. But the Wyatt Six making their pay-per-view PLE debut. It's been like a year since they've been on the main roster, since they've debuted in the company. So good for them to finally get that push on pay-per-view. I'm going to guess, a lot of people say this maybe on Open the Show, but I think we got to wait till it gets dark for the Wyatt Six. Am I wrong there?
No, you're spot on.
Yeah.
You got to do it. It adds that extra feel that I think I think this makes it cool. Like it would make no sense to have Undertaker come on as the first match of the night when the lights are, the sun's still out, so to speak. It hasn't set. So I agree with you 110%. I think Wyatt Six, I think they wait. I think it's probably going to be one of those kind of almost like smack dab in the middle of the card where it just got dark. Perfect time to bring them out.
We got a no disqualification, no count out, last chance match for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. If Becky Lynch wins, Valkyria can no longer challenge for the title as long as Lynch is the champion. It's Becky Lynch who is the champion against Lyra Valkyria. Bailey feels kind of slighted because she was involved in the triple threat at Evolution, and she's currently sitting out this SummerSlam. So do we see maybe Bailey get involved in this, or is this you know, a one-on-one match, Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria, and who wins?
I think Becky's going to win, and I think it's you just alluded to it. I think it's because Bailey is going to essentially screw over Lyra Valkyria. Lyra's going to look like she's going to win, and I think Bailey being slighted, not on the card, everything kind of happened the way that it did. She feels maybe her opportunity was taken from her by Lyra Valkyria, and she's going to take that back, take that opportunity from Lyra Valkyria, and I think Becky will win because of that.
Last year, Solo Sikoa was in the main event of SummerSlam, taking on Cody Rhodes for the championship. We don't have that kind of championship this year where it feels kind of like a throwaway because we all knew Cody Rhodes was not going to lose Solo Sikoa. But better, I think, this time around, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. It's Bloodline Civil War in another form or fashion. Inside a steel cage and for the United States Championship. Solo Sikoa is the current U.S. champion. Are you looking forward to this one? Is this one of the higher ones on the night 2 card you're looking for? I am. I think this is probably my favorite match on night number 2 that I'm looking forward to. Outside maybe the main event, obviously.
Honestly, for me, my favorite match outside of the main event, obviously, in that case, honestly, I'm looking forward to Becky Lynch and Lyra. They have great chemistry in the ring. They put on a great show, and obviously the part of where Bailey could get involved, I think that makes it really interesting. So for me, that's the non-main event favorite, I guess. But I'm looking forward to Sikoa and Fatu. I think Solo's going to win. I think he keeps the title.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect. I think Jacob Fatu might get the win. Again, it depends on, are we going to get any more members of the Bloodline? Anyone joining sides? Are we going to get maybe Jimmy coming out to side with the Jacob side of things? Anybody from Solo's side going to help? I know it's a steel cage match, but that's never really stopped anything before. There is a door that you can come in and out of, as Jesse Ventura just found out, despite the fact calling many steel cage matches. But that is a part of the steel cage match. I think Solo wins with help of members of the Bloodline. But a match I thought you were going to say that you were looking forward to, which is another one. And, now that we talk about it, I think night 2 is starting to look better and better. Dominic Mysterio, who is the current Intercontinental Champion, his sickness is starting to fade away, where he's finally eligible to wrestle again, and he's going to take on AJ Styles for that Intercontinental Championship, a championship that has been defended in very illustrious ways at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Dirty Dom, he's on a roll right now. Like, he really is. Like, you just saw all the love that he was getting down in AAA, and I'm not talking baseball. The great luchador Mexican promotion. He was like he's getting like Cody Rhodes treatment down there. They love him down there. Like he's like royalty, and as he should be, because Dominic Mysterio has come a long way in the last few years. And given all of that, WWE, why would they take the belt off of him? It just makes zero sense. Love AJ Styles. Obviously, I was excited to see AJ Styles with you just under 2 weeks ago, and I have a lot of respect for him, but I can't take the belt off Dominic. He's doing a great job right now.
He also has the Judgment Day on his side. He's doing a great job. SummerSlam has seen some of the best Intercontinental Championship defenses. We saw Rock and Triple H at SummerSlam 98 at Madison Square Garden in a ladder match. WWE has announced, and I'll ask you this question. Do you agree with this? WWE has announced that the number 1 match in SummerSlam history is British Bulldog, Bret Hart, SummerSlam 1992 for the Intercontinental Championship in the main event. That's another major IC championship match defended at SummerSlam. Do you agree that that's the top match in SummerSlam history?
I mean, it's hard to argue against it. I mean, it is one of the best. I mean, I can't argue against. I really can't argue against it. I mean, it was a really great match. It was a classic. Without going back and really thinking about it, I would have to say. I mean, if it was just some random throwaway match, obviously it would make any sense. But it was a good match. So I really can't say if anyone thinks that's the case. I'm not going to argue.
British Bulldog in the UK. I mean, there's a reason
Yeah.
why they main evented with the IC title. Some other notable IC championship matches: the WrestleMania rematch. It saw Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon at SummerSlam '95, essentially the most saving grace of SummerSlam 1995, which was horrible. That saw Diesel versus Mabel for the championship, and that actually kind of started out what we see today because it was King Mabel who won the King of the Ring, who earned the title shot at SummerSlam to face off at the championship. And one other, I guess, very notable Intercontinental Championship matches is the one in which we saw the weakest roll up in the history of the business and an injury created from it that probably changed the business forever. Who knows how higher? I mean, he went to the top, but who knows how much higher even Stone Cold could have went. But he wins the IC title that night, breaks his neck on an Owen Hart pile driver, still wins the IC belt, but has to go away for a while before he finds himself to come back in very short order, might I add, to become the face of WWF. Like 6 months later, it's Austin 316 everywhere you go. But Austin wins the IC title that night. And like I said, the weakest roll up you're ever going to see in the world of wrestling. So the IC belt and SummerSlam, and actually one other notable one, and it goes back to I think the first time ever that WWE SummerSlam was at the Continental Airlines Arena. I am wrong. The first time ever was 1989. Brutus Beefcake, Hogan taking on Randy Savage, and Zeus was the main event of that. But the next year, 1990, it was the Ultimate Warrior who was the world champion taking on Intercontinental Champion Rick Rude in a steel cage at SummerSlam. So another not necessarily IC title worthy match, but just the fact that, and an Ultimate Warrior. How could I mention the first ever SummerSlam? Honky Tonk, who had a historic reign at that time, took on all challengers for the Intercontinental Championship. And the challenger who came out was the Ultimate Warrior, who beat him in like 10 seconds, became the Intercontinental Champion, and carried that belt from the 1988 SummerSlam all the way to WrestleMania 6, where he then traded it in, essentially, for the WWF belt held by Hulk Hogan. So moving on to the triple threat match for the Women's Championship, the Raw Women's Championship, despite the fact that it is held by somebody who, before Evolution, was a SmackDown competitor. It was Rhea Ripley and Io Sky at Evolution one-on-one, but now we have a triple threat. Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and the champion Naomi, who cashed in her Money in the Bank just about 1 month after getting it in Los Angeles. So Naomi is the champion. Similar style as we've seen before with other cash-ins, right? Where like earlier in the night you have a match that's on Money in the Bank related. You kind of forget you have Money in the Bank. You don't talk about Money in the Bank. You kind of let people forget you got the briefcase, and you're involved in another match. So clearly you're not going to do anything that night because you're too busy getting involved in your match, which was against Jade Cargill, a very important match. She lost that match, so we obviously think that she's got her tail between her legs. She's off heading to the hotel room. Later in the night she comes in, cashes in instead, and leaves Evolution as the champion. Now SummerSlam, here we are, Rhea Ripley, Naomi, and Io Sky. Are you looking forward to this match? Maybe more so, or the same, or less than Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton? And who wins?
Yeah, I would lean in that direction where I'm leaning towards this match, Naomi, Io Sky, and Rhea over the Tiffany and Jade Cargill match. I think all the ladies are going to do a great job. They've been doing a hell of a job, for a while. Some of the matches are better than the men's. Let's be honest. Like sometimes they're the best matches on the shows. So you pick your poison there. They're all good. They're all good in my book. But this match to me, I think Naomi's going to go, walk away with the title. Or keep the title. I mean, she's going to retain. I think she's on a roll. People are buying into this new proceed with caution gimmick that she's got going on. I think she's cutting the best promos of her career. Like she's figured it out. I think she's figured out, she's always been, decent. She's always been in the picture. She's been there. And this new gimmick, wow, it's done wonders for her career. She's doing a hell of a job. I love what she's doing. And because of what you just saw on Raw this past week, there's obviously some issues with Rhea and Io still that are to be determined. And I think those two are going to knock each other out, so to speak. And then Naomi is going to come in and swoop in and win the match and retain the title. I just don't see it going any other way.
It's hard to believe that like 2 years ago, Naomi was the TNA Knockouts champion. and she made her return at the Royal
She's
Rumble,
reinvented
which was
herself,
kind of a
Jared.
crossover.
She's reinvented herself in such a great way with this new
Yeah.
gimmick. This is her best work, and the women's division right now is phenomenal. Like across the board, it's so deep, and to have somebody, like Naomi, take a huge step forward since she's been back, from her run in TNA for a little bit there. Kudos to her, and I think she's earned it. I think she keeps the title for a bit.
Maybe her and Sasha Banks and Mercedes Moné, maybe they were right all along. I know a lot of people are saying that, Mercedes Moné, what is she doing? But hey, Mercedes Moné has got a lot of championships. She's headlining a lot of places. AEW, she's a big name there, regardless of what she puts out. She's still a big name. She's a champion over there. She's like an 8-time champion with places all over the country.
Not to cut you off there, but real quick on that. This might be a hot take, and that's fine. I don't care. You can at me on social media. That's fine. At Icebreaker21. But Naomi right now is I think her gimmick's better than what Mercedes is doing right now in AEW. Just saying.
She also has a different gimmick. I think Mercedes Moné is just doing the, Monet is money, which he was doing back in WWE, kind of, that. I guess she's doing the all championship gimmick where she's the traveled champion all over the world. But I think obviously Naomi has a spotlight of WWE, and that kind of helps as well. She's the champion of WWE.
I think everything she's doing is better right now. I think the gimmick, her in-ring, everything is better than what Mercedes is doing right now, to be honest.
Well, like I said, they both are successful in their right. Like, neither of them are the tag team champions being left off of a pay-per-view. I didn't think that was a slight. But they thought it was a slight. And just like we always talk about with the Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyres, everybody else, go bet on yourself. Well, they went and bet on themselves, and Naomi's back as world champion in one of the spotlight matches of SummerSlam. And she left the pay-per-view holding up the belt. The all-women's pay-per-view left with one woman standing, and it was her. And that was last month at Evolution. But moving on to the main event, the WrestleMania rematch. We've seen WrestleMania rematches at SummerSlam many times, right? I think most recently, right, it was Brock and Roman Reigns with the tractor and that whole gimmick. I wish I was there live because we haven't seen anything like that before, and I don't think you'll ever see anything like that again. But we have another WrestleMania rematch. Like we always kind of get, we get stipulations, right? This time we're getting it to be a street fight. That means no disqualification. Anything goes. John Cena main eventing his final SummerSlam ever. He main evented SummerSlam 2005. He was in SummerSlam 2015. He's in SummerSlam 2025. For the better part of 3 decades, he's headlining a SummerSlam. He is the champion from WrestleMania, taking on Cody Rhodes. Obviously, the rumor mill has been running strong about Cody Rhodes and how is he going to get it done, and are we going to see the blonde hair turn to black hair? John Cena, is he going to get some help from The Rock after all of this, or it's that long since gone? We obviously know about the stuff with Travis Scott and how he's got the falling out, so that was just a complete waste of time and energy for everyone involved. This main event, though, right? What are we getting? This is a bigger main event at SummerSlam than we've had in a couple of years, right? Jey Uso and Roman Reigns just didn't get it because Jey Uso, while a formidable foe, was not going to be the one to end the historic reign of Roman Reigns. We had Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa last year. As good as Solo Sikoa was, clearly he was on his upward trajectory, meaning not at the top, not the one to beat Cody Rhodes, but on his way up. As you can see, 1 year later, he is still yet to be world champion, and he's currently the U.S. champion, so that shows his viability last year to be the face of the company. But we got some faces of the company. We got a real WrestleMania-style main event here. This isn't just I see John Cena winning because Cody Rhodes is not beating him. Both of these guys, formidable foes, can easily be champion. We all know John Cena's on his way out. He's only got about 4 months to go before his WWE career is ending. He's not leaving with the belt. What is happening at SummerSlam?
I think we're going to get one of those rare moments, and that you can count on. I think, to me, at least in my opinion, you can count on one hand the type of moment you're about to see. In my opinion, I think what happens is you got John Cena going in as the heel champion, going in to SummerSlam as the heel, and obviously Cody is the face of all faces, so to speak, right now. And I think it might be time where they flip roles. And I think we're going to see John Cena flip back to a face, and we're going to see Cody Rhodes go into a heel. And I think you alluded to it. I think something happens with, it'd be cool. I don't know if it happens, but because I don't know if he's really going to be available. But two things I think could happen with Cody Rhodes that make him now the heel. The Rock gets involved and they're good now. Like they worked something out. Or Cody does some really bad stuff in that street fight where he turns heel. That's what I think happens. I think Cody Rhodes will leave SummerSlam as champion.
I think the obvious issue with The Rock is him, The Rock. That's the issue. Is he going to come out and just do something that leads to nothing afterwards? Is he going to help Cody Rhodes win and then disappear? Obviously the whole nonsense he talked about, when he was absent from WrestleMania to just kind of, he had lots of nonsense answers to why he was absent from WrestleMania, but people were obviously expecting him to be there. So if he was to come back here, is he going to say he does it just because SummerSlam needs some ticket sale promotion or something? Is he going to actually do anything with this? That's my only worry, right? Is if he is involved, like for what? Which makes me want to know, how do we then turn Cody? I guess you say, like, we can flip it. How do we end this match without flipping it? How do we get it so that Cody Rhodes maybe wins it and is the champion, but John Cena is still the heel, Cody obviously still the face? Like, any option of that happening, any option of John Cena retaining against Cody Rhodes? He is a heel, so he can use some dirty tactics.
I mean, I'll give you a wild one. I don't know why. I don't know why I keep thinking this in my head, because they would have had to have done it at WrestleMania. I think it could end with, like, they build up this storyline where Cena and The Rock, like The Rock is that final opponent at the end of the year for John Cena. I think that would be like the biggest way for Cena to retire at the end of the year, where it all really starts at SummerSlam as the kind of the catalyst where Rock helps Cody. Then John Cena's not happy with The Rock, thought they were cool, and then they build this thing where they don't need to both be there very often. The Rock isn't obviously going to be there very often, but maybe they have something in the works where John Cena finishes his career in his final match against the one, the only Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
We have never seen John Cena versus Goldberg, right?
Not happening.
Right? Okay. Well,
no.
We could all go. What about John Cena ending his career against the man he won his championship from? Losing the championship against the man he won it from for his first reign ever, John Bradshaw Layfield. What about that? What about that for your final match in the WWE? John Cena, JBL, one last time.
I with all due respect, because I love JBL, but to me, it's got to be. I mean, it has got to be anything. You know how it is in professional wrestling, sports entertainment. It's going to happen the way it's going to happen. We're still going to probably find a hole in the game at that point. But what makes the most sense to now, at this stage of the game, why doesn't John Cena, the greatest of all time, never seen 17 John Cena, goes out in his last match against the biggest box office name in Hollywood, Dwayne The Rock Johnson? That just makes too much sense.
Yeah, I tell you what, that would be quite the Saturday night's main event calibrating, because you wouldn't obviously have that at Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, because it'll be done by then. But I have to say, Goldberg, all jokes aside, he has said in his little piece that he's going to be able to spill the beans a little more about his displeasure with his retirement match in just a little bit of time. And a lot of people are wondering if he's waiting until SummerSlam ends, because if Seth Rollins somehow comes out here, whether it's during John Cena and Cody Rhodes or more realistically versus CM Punk and Gunther, and wins the match, apparently a lot of people are saying that his displeasure with how it ends would have been that he was told the time got cut short and things got rearranged due to a Seth Rollins injury that he ends up finding out was a work all along. So essentially, he gets ripped. And I think he did say that in one of his interviews, that he got ripped in his final match in WWE. And could that be it? That could be it. Like, hey, we need to make time for a Seth Rollins injury. And then after his time gets cut off and he doesn't get all the things that he wants at the end, and they say, hey, your time got cut off because Seth Rollins got hurt. But hey, joke, he's not even really hurt. This is all just a storyline for Seth Rollins going forward. So Goldberg says that he's going to spill some beans on more related to his match, but he had to give it due time. So I wonder if SummerSlam, obviously, he's waiting for that to pass and to happen. But do we see who was winning, John Cena or Cody Rhodes in this one, in the main event, the actual main event of the weekend?
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes is leaving
Yeah.
as the new WWE champion, two-time WWE champion after he just lost the championship at WrestleMania. This is the 38th SummerSlam, like I mentioned, third at the Meadowlands. There was 1989, there was 1997, and 2007. But overall, what are some great SummerSlam moments for you? What are some of your favorites? I mean, I love Brock beating Rock. I like that SummerSlam on Long Island at Nassau Coliseum that had earlier in the night. It had Triple H and Shawn Michaels in the street fight with Shawn Michaels' return to WWE. I mean, you can't obviously talk about TLC without talking about that being one of the best SummerSlam matches of all time. There's just a ton. I don't necessarily know within like the last 20 years, but I would say like in the 90s and the early 2000s, there was just a SummerSlam was up there as just one of the best. 1994, Undertaker versus Undertaker. Who doesn't love that? I think the Bret Hart Owen Hart cage match on that card was probably a better match. But
I mean, hey,
either way,
John Cena to me has two of them in my head. I mean, CM Punk back, almost 15 years ago, and then AJ Styles almost a decade ago. Like those are some moments. To me, I know we talked about it earlier, and I really had to think about it. I didn't really have a chance to think about it, I should say. My personal favorite is the return, and I think you just alluded to it. Shawn Michaels returning after, I think, 4 years out of the business to face Triple H, and that was almost 25 years ago. So that to me, I remember it well because, I remember that match. I was, at that point I was a teenager, and it was, to me, that was one of my favorite matches in SummerSlam history, to be honest with you.
A good SummerSlam effect, a good back-to-back. Obviously, SummerSlam 1998, I think, is a classic from Madison Square Garden, where you had the Triple H versus The Rock for the IC title in the ladder match, and then Undertaker versus Stone Cold in the main event, among other matches. But SummerSlam 1997, from this parking lot where this weekend SummerSlam will be, the Continental Airlines Arena, the main event, The Undertaker versus Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, the special referee. He was coming back from injury then, setting up what would eventually be Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels in the infamous screw job in Montreal. But that SummerSlam 1997 from New Jersey, from the Meadowlands, just an overall great one. Obviously, we saw Stone Cold, the major injury, which is still talked about to this day because obviously the impact that it had and how Stone Cold came back from it. But that right there is a good SummerSlam. And 1997 also, Triple H, Mankind kicked off SummerSlam 1997 in a steel cage 1 year after Mankind and Undertaker's Boiler Room Brawl, SummerSlam 96. So 96, 97, 98, all good years. 1999, a definite weird one if you want to go watch it. It is the one SummerSlam, the first and the only one from Minneapolis, and until next year when they return to the great state of Minneapolis. But the only SummerSlam to have like a unique logo that has never been replicated. They didn't use it the year before. They didn't use it the year after. A lot of people talk about how the current SummerSlam logo really doesn't make you feel like it's the greatest party of the summer. Isn't very jovial and upbeat. It's very, stamp like kind of criminal, like an inmate card, if you will, kind of font for that SummerSlam. It looked actually great for Detroit because that's where they invented it for with the exhaust pipes, and they're still using the exhaust pipes, unfortunately, to this day. But that SummerSlam logo had the same thing. It was like a dark silver metal gray logo. Nothing fun, nothing palm tree or summer breeze or nothing like that. They used it for Minneapolis, and they haven't used it since. So just a unique standout SummerSlam right there with that logo. Like I said, next year they'll be going to Minneapolis for US Bank Stadium and a 2-night SummerSlam. We'll see exactly how this one works. It's going to be interesting at MetLife Stadium for the first ever 2-night SummerSlam. I'm excited to see how it all pans out. I'm excited to see some of the fallout. I think SummerSlam really could make it so that like Monday Night Raw this upcoming week is absolutely must watch. It's got a lot of opportunities, more so than WrestleMania did, to really do stuff and to have outcomes that get you talking, get the world of wrestling ablaze.